All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down, do a quick live for you guys and gals. This one's kind of impromptu. Didn't really plan it. I just realized, hey, I'm ahead on some of my stuff. I have a little bit of client work to do. I made plenty of videos today. So I just thought I'd jump in, do a quick live, see what people are up to. I'm not going to do these as often as I have been. I'm still going to do my weekly schedule one, but I'll still hop in every now and then. If you guys would, though, please click like as soon as you get in. Afterwards, if you guys see this and you don't catch it live, please comment down below. Be greatly appreciated. Again, useful stuff for me just for getting it out there. All right. Rufio says it's good. Like for Daddy. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Got a few other things going. Yeah, stuff's going pretty good. Stuff's going pretty good. Can't complain. I'd like to grow coaching a little more. I have coaching slots open. I'd like to get some people in there, but is what it is. Is what it is. But other stuff's going good. Training's going good. I feel good. My health is good. My personal life's good. But what about you guys? Let's get some training related stuff. I don't want to do a lot of gossip stuff anymore. I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to do current events. I just don't care about the current events. I don't care about picking fights anymore. I did it for just a little while and it wasn't rewarding for me. It wasn't personally rewarding. I didn't feel better for it. Didn't make money either. So it's kind of like you got to look at anything like that in life and go, if you're not enjoying something, it's not rewarding for you and it doesn't make money. Like, why are you doing it? What's the point? I mean, realistically speaking, guys, like that with anything in life, you got to get something out of what you're doing. You either got to have something that's personally rewarding for you or financially. Hey, Mikey says, glad to see you live again. Yeah, I'm not going to do a lot of them. I mean, I'm going to do them here and there. I'm not going to do as many as I was doing. They were getting ridiculous. It's an inefficient use of my time. Like I can make 2 videos in the same time and goes to both Facebook and YouTube. I get more total views per month on Facebook than I do YouTube. Just kind of throwing that out there, guys. Just is what it is. So, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend 2 hours a day in lives in here. It's just not a good use of my business time, Did you have to actually go out of your way to start actually watching YouTube during that gossip era? No, dude. I don't watch YouTube Fitness at all. I literally only watch stuff that people sent me. And so if people didn't send it to me as a direct link, I didn't watch it. I can't stand YouTube Fitness. I don't know how you guys watch it, honestly. I don't see the appeal of what most of the people are doing. They're giving garbage information. A bunch of dudes pin and trend who, just kind of goof off sometimes in the gym. And some of them know what they're doing, but you got to pick through them. Like I've just never found the appeal other than just some basic beginner info for people out there. But that's the thing. Once you've been lifting a few years and you know anything, it's not a lot you're going to learn from 95% of the fitness people. There's still some good info. My stuff's good. You go to Elite FTS or, different people. But by and large, once you have a base, none of these people have anything useful to tell you. Most of them, what are they going to tell you? Up your dose. Therein lay the problem. Also, if you guys would click like, there's 10 of you in here. There's 3 of you. Sorry, there's only 2 of you commenting. That could be the 2 likes. Yeah, but get those likes up, guys. And let's get back over to the talk. But yeah, Rufio, I don't even want to talk about the rest of YouTube Fitness unless it's something useful because quite frankly, I don't care about the community on here that much. I just really don't. It's hard for me to get interested. I mean, like I said, I was doing a little bit of gossip stuff, but why? Does it help anybody? Like, do I need to tell you guys they're fake natties? Right? Yeah, we're going to do the one on Wednesday schedule. This was an impromptu one. I mean, I'm just going to throw some of these in here and there. I'm going to do some on occasion, pop one in, pop in here and there, do one for you guys, but only if they're like people are actually watching them. Like even here, man, we're only at 14 people. There's only 4 likes. We're 5 minutes in. Jason, why do these people keep perpetuating the myth that it takes days for the CNS to recover? It takes seconds. Well, it can take a long time. If your CNS gets fatigued, that's going to affect everything, right? So what affects a CNS? Huge amounts of volume, large amounts of cardio. No, it's not true. Nipple, you run a marathon, like a marathon would be probably the most, scientifically speaking, what would be the most impactful on your CNS in terms of exercise? Running a marathon, right? That would have the most enormous impact. You're not going to run a marathon and then go deadlift 600 pounds right after, right? So why would you say that that's a myth? Like CNS fatigue will absolutely prevent you from lifting. Don't run a marathon and then max out on your squat or deadlift 5 minutes later. It's not going to work out for you. Stop by. There are almost no naturals. How do most naturals don't get 17 to 18-inch arms? You mean really fat guys, or do you mean leaner guys? That doesn't happen. So I don't know what you're talking about. I wonder how many 600 plus deadlifters ever run a marathon. I only know of a handful. So, yeah. So no, that's not a myth, Nipple. Nipple, do you know what the myth is? Do you know what the myth is? That lifting heavy causes CNS fatigue. It doesn't. That's where the myth is. Like a 600-pound deadlift has almost no negative effect on your CNS. A 20 or 30 rep set of curls to failure will have a larger impact on your CNS than a 600-pound deadlift will. That is not my opinion. That is what they show in the lab. Go for a 5-minute jog. Man, compare that to a deadlift. It's like 100 times the CNS fatigue. Right? How effective is 3 sets of 5 and going up 5 pounds for building a 315 bench? That would not be the protocol I use. That's a good way to build a 315 squat. No, dude, most guys are not going to build a 315 bench. You're going to beat yourself up before you get to a 315 bench doing that. Why are you running novice protocols trying to get to a 315 bench unless you're blasting a pretty heavy amount of gear or you're fat? Mm-mm. That's not how I program my lifters. Hey, Minion, I'm just going to ignore you for now because I really don't care. Is arm training still in? Well, stop. How many arm days did I have this week? I mean, if you look at my video feed and look at my vlogs, how many bicep days did I have this week? I'll let you go count and then come back and answer the question. Now, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just simply telling you, if you watched my channel or just looked at my video feed, you'd already know the answer to that, like without me answering. So I don't think you actually watched my channel. That's what I'm saying. The answer, I had 2 bicep days this week outside of my normal conjugate training. I literally had 2 bicep days. One of them was yesterday. It's in the title. Blaha says, why is 3 sets of 5 more effective for squats? Because a 315 squat is a novice number and a 315 bench is not. That's why. That's a great way to get to a 315 squat. It's a good way to get to a 200-pound bench. It's not a good way to get to a 315 bench. Stop Sign said, I have a buddy of mine who's on YouTube and recently benched 315 for the first time. Nice. With 8 years of training, he also reached 18-inch arms. There you go. And that's actually good progress. Stop. So 18-inch arms and a 315 bench at 8 years of training is actually pretty good. Like that's actually, a lot of people will look at that and say, really, it takes that long? Like that's actually probably above average. Like your buddy actually is a little bit ahead of the curve there. I would say that's better than average. So he's actually done pretty good. I'm going to go out on a limb and say over half of guys who train for 8 years straight hard will still fall short of those goals in 8 years. So I would say props to your friend, man. He did good, right? He did really good. Tell him I said so. Yep. Also, if you guys could click that like button for Daddy, I would appreciate it. Come on, get those likes up. Hit those likes. Let's get some more of those flowing. I came in nice and early in an afternoon for y'all too. So a lot of you people in the UK are still awake. Social media has effed us up to believing anyone can reach a 315 bench in a few years, and it really takes a long time. Yeah, no. I made a post on that this morning on Facebook, right? And I shared it to a bunch of groups. There you go. Go check that out. Stop and you'll see what I mean. All right? No, I mean, a 315 bench for most drug-free guys is a good lifetime goal. Like, I think that's a good, solid lifetime goal to reach for. Like a 315 bench, 500 deadlift, you know. Obviously, people with different genetics are going to be biased towards one of those more than the other. They're fairly equal goals, unless you have really short arms and the bench will be easier, or long arms, in which case the deadlift will be easier. You know, it's all relative, guys. If someone reaches a 315 bench in under a year, where does it put them in terms of genetics? Absolute freak. Unless he's 400 pounds. Now, are you talking about a 400-pound guy walking around? Right? Or do you mean a lean guy? Because those are two completely different answers. Being 400 pounds is fat is not good genetics. Right? Jason, how does nipple? You're going to have to go research how CNS fatigue occurs through cardio. It's generally endurance related. It's not from heavy lifting. So I'm currently 245, 250, and I got a 315. There you go. So are you talking about yourself in under a year or something else? Also, those people who bench it in that time period and low body weight are typically arch cells who do exercise presses instead. Yeah, sometimes. That's why I'm back to all just close gripping. Keep in mind, my best on camera has been a 365 straight up close grip with a flat back. And I mean close grip. So it's trying to get back to that now. It's a goal. Okay, so dude, a 6'2" guy hitting 250. You tell me hit a 315 in a year? Yeah, that's really good genetics. You're very genetically gifted for the bench and for strength. Like you're easily probably top 5% in terms of bench press and strength genetics. If those numbers, the figures you just gave are true, easily. Stop sign, and then they get triggered and butthurt if you tell them that. I mean, dude, if they're doing a 5-inch press and they're arching like crazy, I mean, come on, I get it. It's legal in powerlifting, but it's, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know how we deal with that or fix it in powerlifting, to be honest, though. Guy says, subbed many years ago. Nice to see you're still active. Didn't age at all. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it, brother. Also, by the way, guys, how are the forearms today? Rate the forearms. Scale of 1 to 10. How the forearms doing? I think they're doing good. I'm not so veiny today because it's warm finally. I'm doing max effort bench press session in the morning. 9, I'll take it. Says, I can only squat for 100 for 5 reps. I'm like, oh man, you got to fix that. At least the heavier weight powerlifters aren't capable of arching that much more steady pressing. No, that's true, dude. I mean, no, seriously, look at Julius Maddox. Technically greatest up to this point, and I remember when other people broke the records. I'm old enough to remember multiple bench press records coming along, back and forth, 5 pounds, back and forth. And then Maddox comes in and just almost flat backs it and beats everybody. It's like, seriously, dude? I mean, yeah, we could argue he's a fat dude and that's not healthy, and I think we'll all agree there. But you talk about freak. He's almost at a close grip, almost no arch. I'm just like, let me just smoke like 770, 780 with a pause. It's like, what? What? Like, as someone who's followed, lifting for over 25 years, been in the game, that to me, that just absolutely blows my mind. You have to wonder what combination of genes that guy got to even do that. Because he said the first time he benched, it was over 400 pounds. So again, let's talk genetics, guys. Julius Maddox said something like he benched over 400 pounds the first time he tried a bench press. And the guy benches like 780 raw with a pause, almost flat back. Well, I mean, what do you even say to that? What do you even say to that in terms of genetics? Stop. I thought he said it was over 400. Honestly, I didn't know it was 520. I thought he had said something like 450 or 405 his first time getting on a bench. But I could be wrong. That's what I remembered him saying years ago. And I could be wrong. But even then, it's like, who comes in and benches 405 their first time getting under a barbell? And he's like, I just did a bunch of push-ups before that. I built over a 400-pound bench doing push-ups in prison. Look at my face. Are you serious? Rufio says, Coach, I got a joke for you. How do you catch a unique rabbit? I don't know. I think there's only 7 people in the world who hit 700. So Julius even destroyed those guys. He did. But notice, other people notice like Krill and Spoto, right? So Nipple. Think about Krill. Look at Krill's bench versus Maddox. They look nothing alike. Like, that's what's freakish. Okay. Krill actually has a good size arch. He takes it all the way. He's like at the meet legal limit. Like, he does a really wide to try to cut his range of motion some. And he hit like what, 739? If I get it right, was it 739? Which is insane, right? But granted, he used his leverages. He got as much arch as he could get away with his structure, which is not going to be a massive arch. But he arched, he took that grip all the way out, right? So look at that in comparison. Maddox is almost flat back. His pinkies, his hands are fully inside the rings. He is inside the rings. His range of motion versus Krill's is almost double. Like, go look at the footage and you'll see what I'm talking about. His range of motion is almost double. So he smoked Krill's world record with almost double the range of motion by another like 40 something pounds. And keep in mind, Krill was not, in my adult lifting since I've been on YouTube, was the world record holder. Like, that's freakish. There is no other word for that other than freakish. That's the only way you can describe it. It's just like, damn. Rufio says unique up on it. Nice, dude. Nice. Thoughts on Colton Engelbright smoking the ultimate? Dude, that was crazy too. We're going to see, look at this is what we're seeing now. All right, so look at what we're seeing in powerlifting in terms of these genetics. Now that it's become a big sport, now you're seeing these top, like 1 in a million genetics stepping into powerlifting. Normally, these are the sort of genes you see winning the Super Bowl, okay? right? Think of the terms of genetics you're now seeing. They're the sort of guys who are so fast twitch dominant with all this high kinesthetic IQ and everything. These guys who are not just NFL, but guys who are winning the Super Bowl, the guys who are making $20, $30 million. Okay. We're seeing some of those genes trickling into powerlifting. We see guys like John Hack now. You see guys like, like Colton. Like, that's insane. Like, you can't compete with that. Right? Now you're seeing that absolute top tier genes stepping into powerlifting. And nobody can compete with that. Like, you cannot compete with that as the average person. You can't take enough drugs to hang with them. You can't train hard enough. You will simply not compete with that. And that's just reality. I mean, it's cool because for me, a sport that I like and have participated in, judged in, been an official in, had state records in, it's kind of cool to see that, but it's just like, it's changed. You guys remember when Louis Simmons said powerlifting was a sport for the rest of us? What he meant was powerlifting was a sport for those of us who were not the most genetically elite, people who just put in years and years of hard work. We could get a really good total. Okay. That's what he was talking about. It's a sport for the rest of us because it didn't attract the highest tier genes. Now they're trickling in, and now it's just like, dude, nobody can hang with that. Willie says, do you recommend a food scale? Yeah, if you're new to tracking. I think it's more rare for someone who has the potential to bench 900 to not bench. I don't know if anyone has the genes for 900 out there. What do you think about guys like Choate and Vogelpool and other Westside guys who are having the records blown out of the water by guys with less gear? No, it's genes, bro. Westside's methods are absolutely not overrated. Westside produced 100 world record holders, like the training with the same gene pool and everything that everyone else had. The methods work. They absolutely work, and it's carried over into dozens of other sports. What you're seeing is the genes. Remember Louis Simmons, what I just said about Louis Simmons says powerlifting is a sport for the rest of us. That's why. Willie says, if I'm squatting 100 pounds, I need a surplus. That is not what I would base your surplus on. I've made tons of videos explaining when you should gain weight or not. That is not what we're looking for. That's not what we base it on. A person who's squatting 100 pounds might be able to get to 300 while cutting. So that's not what we need to know. How fat are you? How much do you weigh? All that stuff. To be honest, gear has gotten so out of control, it feels like in the future we'll see literal cranes being categorized. No, stop. You're seeing gear phasing out. Look at raw powerlifting versus equipped in terms of popularity. Jacob says, what's this video topic? The topic is Jason Blaha live. I'm just chatting with you guys. No topic. We just getting in and talking to the audience. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Impromptu. Last minute, I decided about 20 minutes before I did it. Hey, I'm going to jump in, get a quick live before I hop over and do some other stuff. Had a free moment to work on it. And I'm like, let's go ahead and get that. So I message a little with clients back and forth. Okay. Jason, what's even started the equip lifting? I can't really give you a full history and a live stream of the entire history of how gear originally came about and was developed 30, 40 years ago, the history of it in powerlifting. Like, you're going to have to go research that. If you really want to know, you could go down a rabbit hole. And you could spend the next 100 hours researching it. Didn't Colton beat? I don't know if he beat the multiply. Jason, what gear's too much? Honestly, I would like to see gear phased out completely. I'd like to see it go to all raw. Like, I think there should be one division. Just if I were to get to make the rules, we just do away with it. Bare knees only. I mean, you ask me if I got to pick? Yeah, I'd like to see bare knees only. A 700 squat on YouTube used to get a million views. Now you see 200 pounds guys doing them for reps, right? Hey, Willie, you've made yet another profile to keep asking me the same questions. I'm not going to entertain you. So, guys, if you guys notice, I'm just not going to answer his stuff. It's because the same guy has been doing this for 2 months and asked the same questions. In fact, I know for a fact I just answered you in the comments earlier today in the videos. So go read the replies already. The bench pressing in particular, I think is ridiculous how much, yeah. I mean, again, if you're asking my personal opinions, when I've judged meats, I judge the meat by the book. Okay, so if you're asking Jason Blaha when he judges a meat, or are you asking personal opinion? Personal opinion, I'd like to see all the sleeves technically gone. I think wrist wraps are fine for injury prevention. Just sturdier wrists. I think belts are fine. I personally like to see the sleeves go away. All right. Jacob, no, I don't really feel like doing current events at this point. It's just not interesting. Also, get those likes up though for me, guys. I would appreciate that. Younger says, I've never seen anything about a 330 bench in person on social media. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't see it that often. Outside of powerlifting meets and powerlifting gyms. And so, me personally, friends of mine, so just walking around in gyms, I have never seen anybody I don't know personally already know and have had conversations with ever bench 405 or more in a gym in my entire life. Now, on the powerlifting platform, I have. In commercial gyms, not counting myself, I would say I've probably seen in my lifetime a dozen people bench over 315. 25 years. I love those 10 to 15 minute videos back in the day, right? So you're becoming more and more like if they really are, dude. In commercial gyms, there aren't any 405 benches or 5 plate squats happening. You know, I legitimately saw a guy in college bench press 405 for 3 reps. It was incredible. Dude was not big by social media standards. Yeah, you've never seen anything like that close again. This 5x5 is generally novice type hypertrophy work. Do you agree with Matt when he's saying that the bench press needs to be more arm dominant than torso dominant? I mean, there's some truth to that, definitely on shoulders, but that's about grip width, not anything else. That is really a grip width thing. But keep in mind, it will still always be to some extent pec dominant, right? Do you see any value in using slingshots as a bench variation? No, just use bands or reverse bands if you want that. I don't like the slingshot that much personally. I mean, I get it for a max effort variation, sure, but you could just throw some bands over it. You could throw reverse bands over it and get the exact same effect without having to buy a slingshot. You're already going to have bands laying around at a powerlifting gym. I think the best grip width is with the forearms perpendicular to the floor. I mean, in theory for stacking, but that's going to depend on individual leverages. My strongest lifts have been hit closer than what you described personally. Stop says, yes, that's what when he said ad people shouldn't really be using a wide grip. I mean, would my own recent experiences kind of tell us that? If you bench 500 in a commercial Indian charge gym will stop. Dude, if you bench 405 in a commercial gym, the entire gym will stop. If you bench 315 in a commercial gym, 90% of the people will stop. I know firsthand. No, I don't clench my teeth when I lift. What would you consider to be strong for chin pull as regards to total weight? If you can do about 300, that's pretty dang strong. Total weight. body weight plus the plates. I think 300 is a good benchmark to aim for, right? My opinion says me, right? You see someone load up 315 on the bench, and I'm usually watching. Yeah, usually most people stop and look at that point. Jason is fapping twice a day unhealthy. No, like I don't run that type of channel though, but no. Why would you think it is? Roland says, why? How often do you see people overfilling? I don't know what that means. All the time. Really common. I don't know why guys are still convinced. I mean, I get why they are, but I've put out tons of information explaining not to do it. So therefore, it's no longer my problem. I've made more than 20 videos telling people to stop doing it and what to do. Therefore, it is no longer my problem. Jason, I think Alexander Leonidas said, Daddy, I'm gullible. You're a dumbass. All right. You're not just gullible. You're stupid. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest with you. Like to even say that. You're not gullible. You're just dumb. You just can't possibly believe that. All right. So you're either lying or you're stupid. Which is it? Pick one. Because I can't even take that as a serious post. Matt, it was very obvious when he started blasting. The whole world knew it. Every single person called it. We all called it when he first started blasting years ago. We all said what drugs he was using. Common sense. You can't possibly be a real lifter and believe that. You can't. If you don't know when he started using Dianabol as part of his stack, then you're not a real lifter. It was like 8 years ago. All right, next. Most of the guys I've seen benching 300 plus at a commercial gym are weighted up, overweight, fat, and a short. Yeah, usually. I think they get addicted to the progressive overload aspect. It's not adding weight every workout. They get pissed. Well, Willie, that's a problem. Hey, Matt, I'm not going to be nice to that level of absurdity. I just can't. I just can't do it, dude. I can't tolerate it. I just can't handle that level of mindful stupidity. I just can't do it. Is it possible to roughly qualify how much stronger someone would be from hopping on the gear? No. Matt, in this case, no, they're not the same thing, but you're a lifter. You've been watching lifting a while. You're a fan of his. Therefore, you can't claim ignorance. Unless you tell me you started working out a year ago and you're a noob. Okay. So, Matt, have you been around the lifting world at least 3 years? Then you can't claim ignorance. We have to go with stupid. Okay, then what more do you want? That's just, I'm sorry, I just can't take that as a serious thing. I just can't. You've been around the lifting world at least 3 years. So I'll accept maybe wishful thinking. You're crying. Maybe, please God, just let him so that I have some chance, maybe, but isn't that kind of dumb? All right. But that also means deep down, he's not. Roland, hey, Jason, do you think a 5x3 will help me break the 230 for 3x5? No, not necessarily. You need to get bigger. Roland, are you asking from a psychology programming? Are you talking about mind trick, me pulling a Jedi mind trick as a coach? Or are you asking, will physically that help you? Because those are two different things. Programming wise, no, you just need to keep gaining muscle. Do you need something to distract you for another couple of months while you gain the muscle to do it, to make you think you're lifting heavier? Okay. But physically, that's not going to do anything. But there's a difference between programming mind tricks on your lifters versus actually gaining the muscle to do it. Okay. Yeah, GVS definitely started, but I don't want to talk about all that. Hey, Jacob, would you remove, man? I didn't see your post that you removed. Okay. Coach does a 135 over press want to make an early intermediate. No, you're definitely intermediate at that point. You did a 260 kilogram WVG last week. I saw that. Let me put that into pounds. I think it was more than 260. It was 585. So technically 165.3. Sorry, 265.3. But yeah, went pretty decent. They all have the fruity nickname. You're so ashamed. I know, right? Why can't they just use the real names, man? I use my real name, and I got a funny last name that everyone thought was a joke because they don't know that it's Slavic and Czech. Technically, my last name means good. So if we were to translate it to English, I am Jason Good. Yep. Yep. But yeah, it's a Czech name. The next Saul Goodman. Saul Goodman. Remember when Kelly Muscle, man, I remember that. Jason Bleep Blop Floop Flop. Remember, it's always important when speaking as Cali Muscle to throw the uhs in. He does that a lot in the middle of a sentence, at the end of a sentence. Coach, who would you rather? How much should you dumbbell bench to reach 315 flat bench? I don't know. Blaha, second best name on life. Bugenhagen does have a pretty solid last name, right? I'm not going to lie, dude. The Boogs has got a cool last name. Look at this nonsense. Oh, man. All right, guys, I do have some chicken slow cooking in the oven. I'm going to need to check it here shortly. So it might be time to wind this down, but I did give you guys a live. So I hope it's been informative. Love all you guys and gals, and we'll talk to you next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before we go. Oh, Mount Bicephalus. Look at those veins.